Okay, we're back. This is Math 200. We're looking at chapter 9. We're on 9.7. And they're having us graph a real heck of a problem here. Number 16, they're showing the completing the square process, but where you keep it all on the same side. It's a little tough with a -3 factored out. And so there's a little explanation there. You won't have to worry about that unless you go into college algebra. That is something we do in college algebra, is put things into completed square form, because then you know the vertex. It's 1, 7, right? 1 makes that be 0, 0 squared, -3, 0, and then 7. So 1 comma 7 is the vertex on this thing. You can then set x equal to 0, so you put zeros in for x. You figure out y. So when x is 0, y is 4. So now we know the y-intercept. You can set it equal to 0 and move things over. Move the 7 over, divide by the 3, take the square root of it. That is 1.5. On the next page, that's kind of a misprint. So 1 plus 1.5, that's 2.5 comma 0. And 1 minus 1.5, that's -0.5 comma 0. It's like 0.53 da da da. I just went to 10th place. I'm just going to do an approximation. And then you can graph it. We know it opens down because of that. We know where the vertex is. So we got the vertex. Remember, we have the axis of symmetries, x equals 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like you're going to have to add a couple of lines on my note packet. Sorry, I didn't go up high enough. So 1 comma 7, x equals 1 is the vertex, or the line of symmetry rather. X equals 1, line of symmetry. Vertex is 1, 7. 0 comma 4 is a point, which means if I have 1 point on a parabola, I can go 1 to this, 1 away from that, and I get another point out of the deal. All right, 2.50, so that's 1, 2.50, and -0.50. And now we just do the graph. And so that's a combination of all of the stuff we kind of learned in the last 2 or 3 chapters. Factoring, substituting from way back into chapter 2. So lots of algebra in that. And then if you look at the last page, they say, okay, well, look, there is a way to find the vertex without doing this, completing the square process. You can just use this formula, the opposite of b over 2a, that'll get you the x coordinate, and then you sub that answer into the original formula, and it gives you the y coordinate. So that's what they mean by f of that. That means find this, sub it in, and then you find y. So what does that look like? That looks like this: x squared minus 4x minus 12. A is 1, B is -4. We don't really need C, we just really need A and B. I'll put C down just for posterity, but you don't really need it. So the x coordinate of the vertex is equal to the opposite of -4 over 2 times 1. So that's 4 over 2, that's 2. So x is equal to 2 on the vertex. So my vertex, I have 2 comma something. How do I figure out that something? Well, you take that 2 and you sub it back in. So f of 2 is equal to 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 12. That is 4 minus 8 minus 12. That is -16. So 2 -16 is the vertex. And then the last one, ooh, look, it's got C3PO on your notes. Calendar sales for a ski club can be modeled by this formula. -x squared plus 360x. And so A is -1, B is 360, C is 0, but again, we didn't really need 0. And so if you find the x coordinate, it is -360 over 2 times -1. That is -360 over -2. That is 180. You then sub 180 back into the original. P of 180 is equal to the opposite of 180 squared plus 360 times 180. And so what does that turn out to be? That turns out to be negative 32,400 plus 64,800, P of 180, and P of 180 then is equal to 32,400. Now, that is 32,400 pennies, and so then if we divide by 100, that's 324 bucks. All right? And so what does that mean? That means that if you did the graph of this, the maximum profit, that's profit, P of X is profit, would be achieved with 180 calendars sold. That would peak out your profit. If you sold less than that, you'd be down here for profit, and if you sold more than that, you'd actually be. So sometimes you lose money. Everybody automatically thinks the more I sell, the more I make. That isn't always necessarily true in all things, but $324 is what they would make if they sold 180 calendars. All right. We again delve into graphs and maxes and mins a lot in the next course in college algebra. And that's it for chapter 9.